To start off this hardcore world, I decided to make this village mine. But I'm not a big fan of how it looks, although I am a big fan of what this village can be, and that is why in this video I'll be completely transforming this village all in Minecraft Hardcore. The first step to transforming this village is to delete this village, so... Now that there are no more buildings left in this village, it's time to get building. And I did draw a bit of a blueprint out for this village. You can probably tell why my 7th grade art teacher didn't like me. Before I start building, I will need some wood. The first build I want in this village is a villager breeder, so I began to get materials ready, terraformed a bit of the land, and then I began the building process. Now I want this villager breeder to be the first build because a lot of the builds that I want to do in this village revolve around villagers, so I'll need to be able to make more and transport them, especially because a side project I want to do is gear up completely through librarians, and I'll need a lot of villagers to do so. Now that the villager breeder is done, the next build that I want to get working on is making a villager trading hall. Now as for the villager breeder, it's a very open spot, which is open right here just so it's very easy for me to transport the villagers out. Baby villagers will be able to walk under here, but that's why I have the fences up. But of course, before I transport the villagers, I need to get working on the actual trade hall build. And the main reason I'm doing that now is because none of the gear that I currently have is enchanted, and my 3 diamond tools are all very low on durability. So I'd like to get unbreaking and mending before I move on fully with this village. Let's get building. You may be thinking that looks kind of like a barn, and you'd be right. I think the reason for that is just because it's very long, plus there's a massive lack of windows and there's fences. But just as a build, I do think it does look very nice. On the inside, I have a total of 32 chambers set up for the villagers, which 16 will be for librarian villagers, and the other 16 will be for farmers and fletchers for trades. And the only thing that's left to do is start breeding these villagers. After there were a bunch of new villagers, I began transferring the villagers, which was actually very, very simple. Finally, I went to reset the villagers until I got the enchantments I wanted. I now have all of the librarian villager enchantments that I want, and I also have a bunch of farmer and fletcher villagers to trade with. Now I just need a way to get emeralds, and it doesn't look like my current carrot farm will cut it. Now getting carrots for trades will be much easier, and just by building this in the background, I've already been able to get almost 3.5 stacks, and that's perfect because trading with our farmer villagers will be very easy. And here's the build for this carrot farm. It's definitely much taller than it needs to be, and I think technically if I wanted to, I could build like a smaller one right above it, but I do think that this build came out very nice. And now before I continue transforming this village, I want to get overpowered armor and tools. I already do have all of the librarians that I need, but there are still a couple of steps I'm missing. Like I'm going to need to heal up my tools and get the XP that I'll need to put the books on my armor. So what I'm gonna do is build an XP farm with the skeleton spawner that I found in episode 1, because once I'm fully protected, I won't have to worry as much about dying, and I'll be able to get efficiency on my tools, which will make building this village much, much easier. Now for the skeleton XP farm, I will need soul sand, so I'll have to go to the nether, and I think right here is the perfect spot to make this nether build. And here is the build for the nether portal. I don't want to do anything with the nether in this episode, but real quick, what I do want is just one singular piece of soul sand. And, oh no. Okay, this is gonna be good for the future, but it's not good for now. And I don't even know where I'm gonna get soul sand in this biome. Oh gosh. Just one piece and I'm good to go. I have everything I need to build this XP farm, so let's get to it. First off, while I was down in this cave, I did find 2 different veins of diamonds, but I did not pick them up because I didn't have my Fortune 3 pick on me. And as for the skeleton XP farm, it's not efficient as it can be because it is 3 blocks above bedrock, so I can't give it all the space it needs to be fully efficient. And now the only thing left to do is get rid of all the light in here. Yes, I don't need to sit AFK now, but later on this will be incredibly useful. I then sat AFK at my carrot farm thinking this would be the best way to trade for emeralds, but I soon realized that this would take way too long. For all the enchantments I want, it would take 44 trades costing a total of 1,103 emeralds. It would then take a stack of carrots to get 3 emeralds, meaning I would need to sit AFK until I got 360 stacks of carrots, and if 10 hours got me 54 stacks of carrots, it would then take me 66 hours or 200 Minecraft days to get all the carrots I'd need. And that's just just a little longer than I'd like to wait, so what I did instead was sit AFK long enough to get my axe Unbreaking 3 mending and efficiency 5, so I could prioritize stick trades for emeralds, and with this axe it was so much faster than what it would have been with the carrots. I went through making tons of stick trades, then getting the books I wanted and applying them to my gear. To finalize everything, I sat at my skeleton XP farm to finish the enchantment process. Now that all of my gear is completely maxed out, I'm ready to continue with this village. And the next thing I want to do is build a quarry, and I think a perfect spot is right about here. This build will be incredibly useful because I'll be able to get a ton of stone from it, and that'll help me progress this village. Yeah, this is pretty much just digging. I did do a little bit of a build on the outside, but then I got back to digging. And after all of that digging, I did more digging, but this time it was more shoveling. I went to go ahead and terraform all the land in this village. I now have an easy way to get a bunch of cobblestone. I also have so much flat land to build with, and to top it off, I have a very organized storage room. In all seriousness, I really do need a warehouse, so let's build one. And I'm thinking right here is a very nice spot for it. My storage room is now complete, and it does look small from the outside, but this probably is the biggest storage room I've ever actually had. And the next thing I want to work on is building my first animal farm, because this is the last of the food that I have. So I began to build a barn for cows and sheep, and the design I was going for the building was a combination between the trading hall that I built earlier and the carrot farm from earlier. I think both of those builds were really good separately, and I wanted to combine them here for the barn. I absolutely love how this barn came out. I have cows on this side, I have sheep on that side, and as of now I do not see the importance of getting chicken or pigs. For food I have cows, and pigs don't drop anything but food, and the chickens could be useful if I needed feathers, but I think I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I do want to surround this entire area right here with wheat, because right now I do not have a wheat farm or any wheat. But before I get to that, I would love to build a nice tower. It's not really going to have too much of a use, but I do think it would just look very nice in this village. And speaking of the village, I think it's coming along very, very nicely. Here I go building up the tower. The tower itself doesn't have any uses besides looks and just being here in the village, but I do think it's important to have builds like that, especially in a village. The tower overall came out a little differently than how I built it in my test world, but overall I do think it came out very nice. And afterwards, I began planting wheat all around the tower and the barn. I now have a very nicely sized wheat farm and have been able to breed my cows. The farming area of my village is now complete. I absolutely love this tower. It's surrounded by the wheat farm, which I think also looks very nice and definitely goes with the cow and sheep barn. I love the little flag on top of the tower. I actually got that idea from Wax Fraud, and it's now time to move on to the final project, or at least one of the final projects, because right now my plans for the village is to put a fountain here, maybe put 2 villager houses right here, have a fishing hut and dock right here, and then over in front of my house build a nice little pond. I pretty much do have everything that I need in this village built. The next 5 builds that I'll be doing are all just for fun. Just like this tower, I actually don't even have a way to get up to the top. Time to build a fishing hut right here, and then I'll have a little pathway going down, and then have a nice dock. I don't have this build planned out at all, but that's just like the chest room and the trading hall and the carrot farm actually, and I think the 3 of those came out great, so let's go for another free build. And that's just what I did, a free build of a small little fishing hut and a fairly small dock. It's now time to finish up this village, so I began by building a fountain and a pond. I then finished up with a regular house for some villagers, as well as prettying up the land in this village. And this will conclude the village. I am so happy with how this village came out. There's a nice rough pathway going all around, connecting all of the builds. All of the land all around is completely bone mealed. This village house is absolutely useless. It's literally only here just for the looks. I do have some villagers walking around the area too, because this is a village. And then a nice little frog statue. I looked up on Google frog statue in Minecraft, and I just kind of copied the picture the best I could. Overall, I think this village turned out absolutely amazing. And that is going to be it for this video. If you did enjoy, please consider subscribing and leaving a like if you have not done so already. I hope to see you all in my next video.